Welcome to the bold analysis. If you are a farmer in this country and you sell your produce to any cooperative, or you run small business, or you know anyone in artisan and in business, then you need to make sure that you share this video so that it reaches he or she. Because here, I want to break it down so that you separate the truth from the lie. And that is why I want to welcome you to the Bold Podcast. Make sure you watch to the end. For in the recent weeks, there have been an avocado tax outrage that has thrown President William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua in a tight corner as a region whose economy, the backbone is agriculture, turns hostile in a government move to tap in taxes. And now, a medium-term revenue strategy paper, the government of Kenya proposed to set the tax at a 5%, and this tax is known as farm produce tax, and I want you to listen to this part, 5% of total value of farm produce delivered to cooperatives or organized groups. What am I saying? If you supply goods, the cost, 5% of that which you get, government wants that bit. Now, I think last week, KRA officials trying to ask farmers, avocado farmers in Murang'a, to register on eTeams, and I'll explain what eTeams is, which is the platform to generate electronic invoices, were chased by the locals.
Ambayo imetengenezwa na system ambayo inaitwa eTeams. Tenene mwendagia avocado mutegwetio marithiti kana mutegwetio maratathi. No tha ici mwendia avocado ni murabataranĩka kũruta karatathi kana rithiti ĩrĩa ĩrabataranĩka KRA. Na sio wewe peke yako inakuguza kama mkulima wa avocado. Na towe wika irahutia ta mũrĩmi wa avocado tondu karigiti kau ni karabatarĩkana ni andu aingi. Inaguza watu ama wakulima aina tofauti tofauti, na hata wale ambao wanafanya kazi kidogo, wale tunaita mama mboga. Karithiti kau ni karahutia andu aingi nginya aria tureta andu a mama mboga tondu ni marabatarĩkana kuriha igoti onao. Wale ambao watanunua avocado wakienda kufanya biashara yao, hiyo karatasi ambayo inaitwa eTeams wataitishwa. Na ni Kenya nzima, sio hapa pekee.
And I want to read bit of that part because I'm actually following keenly on what transpired. I'm holding this newspaper. This is The Nation. A Nation did this headline, KRA tax shocker for farmers' businesses. And even that soundbite, you've listened to that lady saying that it's not only you or even other businesses. That outrage, and there is something I want to debunk. That outrage, I have seen analysts and media taking a vindictive approach that it's only farmers in Mount Kenya that are being taxed despite the fact that they voted for Kenya Kwanza. No, that actually is not the true position. And that aggression in Mount Kenya is showing something. It's a wider outlook that shows the president that William Ruto's ambitious plan to tax the common man will meet hostility and is a pipe dream. That's what it shows. In fact, what's happening is that is just a tip of iceberg. It's showing the government that any plan that is looking at taxing the commoner is going to be a pipe dream. Even those people thinking of tapping housing levy, the commoners are not going to pay that housing levy. And I don't want to get into that because that was not the gist of this analysis. And the truth here is people are used to the traditional taxes, which is clearly how much you telling the government how traditional taxes through the VAT. You buy the VAT on fuel, or rather the VAT on fuel, the VAT when you buy sugar, and all other consumable goods, which we don't even know how much is it, and we don't care. What we only talk about is inflation. But on this new direct taxation is a clear case of government asking you to tell them how much you have got from those produce, and then they'll just take the calculator, calculate 5% and show you, give us that money. That exactly is the simplest understanding of that strategy. And if you want to know, and I want to debunk the notion that it is not only farmers, this article is saying farmers and businesses with a turnover of less than 5 million yearly will no longer be exempted from producing electronic invoices. So these electronic invoices, these are the invoices that will help the KRA officials to know how much you are actually earning from that farm produce, from that Juakali sector you are working, from that shop you are running, everything you are doing. The e-Teams is the tool that has been developed to track and trace how much the people in the informal sector are getting. KRA's move to force e-Teams on small-scale farmers in central Kenya has touched a raw nerve, with crop growers now expected to be on board by the end of this month, the end of March. The economy of Central Region, which overwhelmingly voted for William Ruto, is predominantly agricultural, with most families relying on sale of coffee, tea, milk fruits, and macadamia to earn a living. It is not going to be very easy. And if you want to know that government has been cornered, today, when I was just doing the research for this video, I got this story just released. A host of MPs from Mount Kenya are saying that that avocado tax is not mandatory. After realizing that there was a bit of uproar, they're now saying it's not mandatory. Surely, even if you need to spin and twist, how can you say that tax is not mandatory? This article is talking about all farmers. And remember, there is a punishment. They are saying it's not mandatory, but there is a punishment for those who fail to comply. If it is not mandatory, I'm telling you, sometimes it's not even laughable. It's not even a laughing matter. But that is part of the twist that we've just seen, that some MPs are saying now it is not mandatory. While it is not mandatory, but if you don't comply, there is a penalty. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to just, and that was just to help you debunk. I first want to debunk the notion that it is Mount Kenya. Now, I want you to listen to the Rigi G talking about how they are going to do something around this.
Pia mambo ya macadamia.
The reason I play that clip is it's going to lead me to the next bit of this video. There is what Rigathi is saying there. We can't support farmer this side, and this other side we hit the farmer. What he's saying is exactly what Kenya Kwanza is doing. Why? The president and his deputy have been on top of cars telling the public, these same farmers here, that they subsidize fertilizer, and fertilizer prices have dropped from 2,500, from 7,000 when Uhuru left it, to 2,500, and the public has been clapping, celebrating. The same president and deputy went and told the farmers they are buying coolants for them, for their produce, to keep their produce. And there have been videos of coolants being launched in Mount Kenya. Remember, there was one in Meru. There have been the issue of constructing, whereas President William Ruto putting money in constructing fresh market produce fresh produce markets. Okay? There have been, stories about how we are constructing roads for smooth movement of those goods. In Western Kenya, the sugar belt, the loans have been waived, and the farmers are supposed to start now going back to the farm and doing sugarcane plantation to feed the sugar industries. Now, all that was packaged as part of, as part of what we are doing for you, it never comes for free. That's the gospel truth. That was all the trap. The truth of the matter is what is going on here. Now, today, the big question about this taxation was well captured by Citizen TV, and I want you to listen to this gentleman here. Join the free demo session. Oh, sorry. They wanted to listen to this gentleman here. On this, because there was an interview today in the morning, and Richard Onyonka really, really made my day.
A clever government will then deliberately now begin to look at, and that is the little sympathy I have for DP Gachagua, that he's realized the ground is vitukwa ground itafauti boss. Hapa nje. Hawa jamaa hakuna kitu watasema. Imagine in Central, members who are screaming and telling us how the bill is good and in fact Kenyans must pay taxes. You cannot do anything without increasing taxes. All that nonsense that was being spewed here on TV. What is happening now? Now the same guys are going to the ground and chickening and saying, we don't pay that, don't pay the tax. What is the government policy on taxation in agriculture? Sam, is there anybody in this country who knows what we get taxed? Do we tax inputs? Do we tax outputs? This guy is talking about, the thing is, in fact, now farmers don't even have a place where to go and store just wait. They go and store the goods which have been removed, which have been harvested. There's this thing. Soon you'll hear them say, the challenges we are having is post-harvest challenges. God damn it, go and fix the National Cereals and Produce Board and everybody will store their maize there. And what are they doing? The Cereals and Produce Board has just become a trading enterprise. People are taking maize there. When they get a deal, who's buying maize at the highest, the maize is taken out there, they go and give it to the miller. What is the government policy on agriculture as a whole today, if I ask you? Zero. I know my leader, Honorable Nani, the minister, is trying to do firefighting. I live in Kitale.
Which minister?
Rinturi. He's doing a few things which are wonderful. I mean, like you can see, he has got an app where you can read and check out which seeds, which type of crops you can grow in a certain area. What is the fertilizers, which are the fertilizers they can use in those areas. There are certain small things which are doing. But the truth is today, if you ask this gentleman, who is actually an expert in agriculture, what is the government policy on what we are doing in agriculture right now? Guys are just making deals, Guys are selling fertilizer. Guys are buying seeds. These people.
He's buying seeds. Okay, fine.
I really don't have. I don't know what to say. What do you say now?
All right, Senator Nyoka, I'll come back.
Nyoka is saying, guys are just making bills. Guys are just selling fertilizer. Guys are just selling seeds.
All right, Senator Nyoka.
Sometimes I think I got that very interesting. But guys are just making bills. Guys are selling fertilizer, and it's very true. By the way, guys are just making bills. There is no much being on paper. Now, the uproar is this time round is very interesting. Leave alone those politicians from Murang'a. Do you know? Even in Kiambu, there was a Jubilee caucus and a section of some religious leaders that reacted to this issue because there seems to be Mount Kenya is getting one factor where they need to unite, which is about this tax.
Kutoza wakulima kodi kutazuia wao kutoa mazao kule shambani, na hiyo itazuia uchumi kukua. Na unajua nchi hii chakula ni kitu ya muhimu sana. Kwa hivyo tunastahili kufanya kazi ya ukulima kuwa rahisi kwa mkulima, lakini sio kuifanya ngumu kwa kuwatoza kodi. Tukifanya hivyo hatutapata ile food security. Alafu tena mambo ya GDP ya economy na maisha na gharama maisha itaendelea kuwa juu, kwa sababu wakulima watashindwa kutoa chakula ya kutosha. Wakulima, serikali ilianza vizuri kwa kuwapa fertilizers, lakini sasa hata kabla hawajavuna mavuno ya kwanza bado wanaanza kuwatoza. Inastahili serikali iwasaidia wakulima hata kuwapelekea masomo ya kiukulima. Wakati sisi tulikuwa washanga kidogo, tulikuwa tunaona watumishi wa serikali wakiwa kule mashambani, unaona veterinary officers wanazunguka, wanaleta mbegu zile zinaite, wakulima wao wanafundisha. Hiyo ndio inatakikana sasa, mpaka wafike mahali ambapo wanaweza lipa kodi wenyewe, lakini sasa bado ni huduma zinahitajika kwa mkulima.
Kuna mateta hapa na pale kwa sababu watu wamefinika sana. Sana watu wadogo sana wanalia kwa sababu ya kodi. Na inaonekana ni vizuri kwanza wainuliwe ili waweze kutoa kodi. Huwezi kumuita mgonjwa mke aanze kushughulikia na bado yeye ni mgonjwa. Kwa hivyo ningesema Mungu amefanya yake, nayo serikali igiria ifanya yake, kwa sababu watu wote wanangojea serikali kama baba wao katika ulimwengu.
Ningeambia serikali iangalie mwananchi mwenye mkulima, kama hiyo koti iko juu zaidi. Hata sijui wanakata koti ya nini, ya mimea kama mahindi, kahawa, madisi ya nini, sababu inafaa hawa wenyewe wasaidie, sababu common man hakuna kitu wanapata katika hiyo koti. Ikikatwa ni hao tu wanaenda kujiongeza mishahara huko. Unasikia sisi tunaumia na mashule na mambo mengine. Kwa hivyo ningewaomba hawa wabuge waache kufikiria mambo ya tumbo zao tu, hata wafikirie mambo ya wakulima na wale wengine. Mambo ya shule tumefinyiliwa, hata watoto wanashindwa na kwenda kwa shule sababu hakuna pesa.
Kenya mbele sio kuzuri. Ile mambo yote William Ruto ameleta, hata hizi sheria ambazo Ishongwa anasukuma kule bunge, ukianzia kwa wakulima, wale watu ambao wako targeted ni watu wa Mount Kenya. Tulisikia wakisema hata kutengeneza chakula ya ng'ombe, ile silage tunakatakata majani, itakuwa ni fine kukutwa ukitengeneza bila barua na kama hujasomea. Tukiangalia wale wakulima kutoka kule Northeastern huko, hizo ngamia, kuna mahali wanatengeneza silage, wanaachilia ng'ombe zao kwa kichaka, ngamia zao kwa kichaka. Wala watu wako targeted ni wale wakulima wetu wa Githunguri na kule kwingine. Na tuambie William Ruto, mbele ya kujenga hizo affordable housing hapa Kiambu, atengeneze jela mingi, because we are ready to go to those prisons. Kuna wakati tutaitikia watu wa pili. Ya pili, leo tuko na viongozi ya kina Ishongwa na wengine. Tukikumbuka wakati wa Moi alikuja akawa anapanga kufikiria Mkikuyu kwa watu wa Mount Kenya. Na tulikuwa na kina Ishongwa of those days, Kariuki Shotara, baba ya Susan Kiheka, akina Kiheka Kimani, akina Kamotho, ambao walitajirika kivyao wakifinyiria na kupigia Moi makofi akifinyiria watu wetu. Today we have Ishongwa, we have Gachagua, we have Dede Nyoro ambao wanapigia Moi makofi akifinyiria watu wetu. We had akina Matiba ambao walitokezea kuokoa watu wetu. Let us be the Matibas of today. Let us be the Robias of today. Tutasimama kidete na tuambie Moi, na tuambie huyu Moi mpya, the modern Moi, William Ruto, hakuna kufinyiria watu wetu. Ya mwisho, tuambie William Ruto, hii serikali yako imefinya watu. For the first time, amepandisha vitu ambazo haijapandishwa. Amepandisha chumvi, amepandisha condom, amepandisha kila kitu. Yakani William Ruto, Mungu hata achilie ufanye hivyo. Na tuambie watu wetu wa kanisa, hapa tumefikishwa na kanisa. Wala watu wengi, we have those few people ambao ni wazuri. Tuko na Wainaina, the provost ambaye yongea sana sana. But we have bishops hapa Kiambu. Kuna mwingine hapa Kahawa West, anaenda mpaka kuomba kazi kwa Ruto. We are telling people, na tunaambia watu vizuri sana. Watu wa kanisa, tuambie Mungu, kama kuna mtumishi wako ambaye anateka advantage ya wale watu ambao wanawahimiza sana kwa kanisa yake, Mungu usiachilie atuweke kwa shimo zaidi. Chukua huyo mtu kivyako, utuondolee ina miti. Nitafikisha hapo na Mungu awabariki.
And if you see those reactions, they are very keen. Now, I want to tell you, I want to answer a question here. So if I am saying it's not a Mount Kenya problem, you know, someone will ask, Kevin, if you're saying it's not exclusive Mount Kenya problem, and I want to say it's not an exclusively Mount Kenya problem. It's coming. It's coming. At the sugarcane farmer, yeah, it's coming. Yeah, even me, I'm doing some sugarcane somewhere. It's coming for us. So, Mount Kenya is leading riot because the taxman is using. They want to take advantage of existing supply chain in Mount Kenya. What do I mean? If you look at these crops, this avocado, macadamia, this tea, coffee, milk, all this produce in Mount Kenya, there is a way they have in that supply chain. There are farmers and there are already existing societies and cooperatives that are helping in that space. So government knows very well. They have the database of farmers that are doing this, they are doing that, they are doing that. And the farmers believe very well that it's something clearly targeting them. And it's very opaque. Imagine I need to take eatings so that I feel how much I get. Because the traditional way what used to be is, do you know even you're supposed to pay it, you tuambie tu ni ngapi, then we feel and you pay government. But that is not going to work because, do you tell me it's going to work for, how about those who don't have cooperatives and organized groups, like maize farmers in Kitale? Now, maize farmers in Kitale, this rule is saying you just eat on when you supply. Now, how about if I make losses? Like maize farmers, they got subsidized fertilizer, they did the planting, but at the harvest, government imported maize in the country. So after importing maize in the country, there was a maize glut. So that means even if they are supplying their maize, they were supplying at lower margins. Even with those lower margins, some margins are even negative because you just want to recoup back your money and do another season. At least now you are tapped because that season you now say, I have lost. Government still have to. So do you know that you stand a chance of even going to tax losses? And that's the whole argument. I'm not an economist, really. But these are the arguments when I listen to what different experts are saying. These are the arguments that it's a bit insensitive in the fact that how about I make losses? Now, I want to tell you the interpretation of commoners' outrage. Why this outrage by the commoner is something that is going to be a big headache for the president. This is because it's a very clear sign that the next finance bill will meet hot rejection. This is the build-up. If today you've just started with farmers and the farmers are saying, we want, they're chasing those career officials, it's already creating momentum. And remember, according to William Ruto, his objective is to increase the tax base. So it is something predictable that even the next financial year, the next budget, we are going to see more taxes being included there. Now, finance bill is already facing rejection before it's even presented, before even full disclosure of what exactly is in the document. Number two, the feeling of Kenyans that we are being overtaxed will finally get the traction and people will buy it. For quite some time, the politicians have had the monopoly of using antagonism politics to water down the question of overtaxation. For example, when Raila Odinga called for the protest in the streets, people rushed to Mount Kenya and they told William Ruto rushed to his supporters, where he knew he had many supporters, and told those supporters that those protesting are just protesting not because things are bad. They're just protesting because it is not them doing it. And I remember MPs going to say that ile kitu yote Raila upinga ukonga kitu mzuri. Ni Raila upinga vitu mzuri. And some myopic minds bought those narratives. So with this, it's a clear sign that it will be difficult to undo the feeling. And that feeling is coming that we are being overtaxed. Number three, political manipulation messages are not going to sink. Like, for example, look at what the Kirinyaga women rep is saying, that law, that farm produce tax is not mandatory. So there seems to be no protest. So should it be passed? Look at it. Unadanganya what it is not mandatory. While on the other side, if you don't do it, you will be penalized. Okay? It's simply just trying to cool down the pressure, and it's targeting those farmers. Leaders must just learn to speak the truth. Honestly, I've not seen that sound bite, but I've seen that story from Kenyan.co, and I'm wondering, how would a whole MP go and lie to the public, telling the public that something that has been passed as mandatory, with both sides of it, that if you don't do it, this is the penalty, then you're telling them it's mandatory. If it is not mandatory, then remove the penalty. Number 3, MPs are not defending government because of hostility. And that's it. You can see what's happening there. It's clear share of hostility. And that is why William Ruto is not getting much of that defense from his foot soldiers. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my take on this tax. And I tell you that it will be difficult for Kenya Kwanza to tax the common man. It will be difficult. It's going to be it's going to be more chaotic than actually people see. Thank you, guys.